Okay, I think we can start the workshop, a very interesting workshop, especially because it's talking about security, and that is you guys, you know very well. I am owner of the Modern Endpoint Management Group, LinkedIn, and one of the topic, I always say, but one of the topic that the people is worried and people is asking me to take it to see more content is about security, more specific endpoint security. There's so many topics we can talk related to this topic, because it's honestly is very trending, and we know very well that in the current situation that we are living, the cyber attack is something that it makes worry, not just in the personal level, but also in the corporate and companies, especially where we are in risk every day, and our protection is really, I would say, very crucial, very important that we are protected and we understand how the attack is happening now. Today, in fact, that is one of the points that we are going to talk about, because recently we are here, so I think much conversation, more trending related to our famous ChatGPT, right? And it's incredible how the intelligent artificial is growing, and it's growing. It's nice. It's nice to see how the intelligent artificial is doing a great job and a great work for us. But in the meantime, they put it risky to us, and that is what we're going to analysis today. For that, we have an agenda. Okay, we are having a workshop hour where we are going to share those experience with two persons they are specialized in cybersecurity, and they come speak us and let us know on how we can prevent it, how we can protect us much better. Because as I mentioned to you, ChatGPT, or intelligent artificial, is giving more easy for the hacker to attack us. So here is the point. So we prepare a workshop where Irina Artioli, who is a cyber protection evangelist from Acronis, she's going to go through some slides, very interesting. I keep an eye, I will pay attention in a few slides talking about a few examples of the ChatGPT and how the ransomware, how the hacker can do a phishing, because I was impressed on what they can do. This is really, I really, highlight to you that point. She's going to get through all those slides with a few very interesting data. And then we're going to move another more practice, more live session with Marcus Bauer, which is, by the way, guys, that Marcus have been participated in many other previous webinar. And then he's going to speak more in the way of protection and mitigation, all in the live session, where you can see how we can, run in that in live. So at the end, we are going to have a question and answer. Please, if you have question, write that in the chat that you got the question and answer. You will see that you write in the bottom. Leave your question there. We will answer at the end. Okay. I got a few questions that people already sent it to me by email. Okay, so I will say at the end of the workshop. And then just let you know, guys, also for your information, this webinar, this workshop is being recorded. So if you guys are not, you are invited to leave. Otherwise, stay with us, okay, for this very passionate workshop that already, Irina, why not you are going to take the control of this and go ahead. We listen to you.
Thank you, Angel, and hi to all. It's my pleasure to be here today. And what I will start with, let's talk a little bit about ransomware of tomorrow and cyber threat landscape. I want to start by sharing a couple of numbers which we have collected for our cyber threat report with our Cyber Protection Operations Center team. So basically, we do release those reports twice a year, and this is from the second half of 2022. Just a couple of numbers to consider and to understand what we have to face, right? And the main point, of course, that cyber threats are still on the rise. But from which ways? How do the cyber attackers actually get into the systems, right? And what we have seen. Well, first of all, and most important, phishing is still #1 vector, and this has not changed. And what we have noticed is that the proportion of phishing attacks has risen by 1.3 times, and now it represents 76% of all of the attacks. So it's still #1 vector of how cyber criminals getting into the system. Now, data breaches, they have been recently happening a lot, and the average cost of a data breach now coming to $5 million, which is actually a lot. And of course, it means that you have to spend lots of money to be able to remediate and go back to the normal business activity. The other interesting number which I want to share with you is that 7.7% of endpoints, they try to access some malicious URLs. Well, you might tell me that this number is not very high, but if you think about it, it's like each one user out of 10 try to download, I don't know, maybe codec player, right, to see some funny videos, and this link was malicious. And you know, sometimes it's like even one email is enough to get into the system, or one link to be visited, one malicious link or one malicious website to be visited by one user makes already a stress, or brings stress to the company, and of course, an incident can happen. And the other number is regarding the vulnerabilities. Why it's still important to keep in mind, because I'm sure that recently some of you have heard about the incident with VMware ESXi servers, right? And here I talk not only about zero-day vulnerabilities. For this, you of course need to run vulnerability assessment. You need to have automated patch management, but of course, even known vulnerabilities, like it happened with VMware ESXi servers, right? Where companies faced 2-year-old vulnerability, which has not been patched and which has been already exploited by the cyber criminals. But still, ransomware attacks are also on the rise. It doesn't matter for the cyber criminals. They do not discriminate whether you're big or small, right? They happen in each different vectors and in different sectors. And that's also another important point to remember. What do we see from Cyber Protection Operations Center? We actually, here you can see the statistics of ransomware detections across EMEA region, across European region, and it's in the middle in the table. What do all these numbers means? We usually consider the statistics which is taken from the countries with more than 25 installations, and we usually consider the countries and the machines with more than 25 detections. So it is already normalized data. But what does it mean? If you take a look at the second line, let's take an example of Germany, 4.4% in Q3 of 2022. It means that out of 1,000 machines in Germany, 4.4% of those machines had a detection, ransomware detection. Well, most important part here is that ransomware detection is already the last line of protection. And I'm sure that most of you already know it, right? But what does it mean in other words? It means that all the other layers were not good enough, right? And it means that your data was accessible by ransomware. They tried already to access your data. It might be a phishing email. So basically your email security didn't stop this phishing email. Or again, it might be happens that someone went on a malicious website, right? And click and try to download some malicious software. and didn't expect it to happen, right? But from Acronis side, we use active protection, and for us, this number means that even the data, even the encryption already started, we were able to identify this process, to block it, and revert it back any affected data. So with our active protection, you are able to do that and to make sure that you can block any attempts to encrypt your data. And of course, the data will be reverted back. And that's the important part here. But with all of these tools which cyber criminals are using right now, one of the tools which really helps them is, of course, ChatGPT, because we are using artificial intelligence to identify the cyber attacks, and of course, cyber criminals are using artificial intelligence. Why exactly ChatGPT? Well, why it's everywhere, right? Because it's accessible by everyone. It's open to everyone. So actually, everyone can run requests, even though there was an announcement that you need to pay $20 to have a pro version, right, to have uninterrupted service. It's still working quite good, and if you even want to run some of the requests, you still will be able to do it. Let me know if you want to know more about ChatGPT, but I will think that most of you have heard about it. I think only people who lived under the rock have not heard about it, right? But please leave us maybe comments in chat and on QA if you need more details on this, right? Just for the sake of time, I will move forward to show you some examples and to show capabilities of what it was able to do. So how actually cyber criminals can use ChatGPT? Well, there are many discussions, and those discussions have been there for quite some time, because even ChatGPT has been launched in November. Just in 2 months, it reached more than 100 million users, and it's still very popular. So, of course, the creators started to create some of the guardrails, some of the obstacles to make sure that it won't be misused by cyber criminals. And here you already see some of the examples where people are trying to misuse it, right? They try to get some ransomware, they try to understand how they can encrypt the files, maybe some people who want to make quick bucks, right? Most of all. And you can see that already some of the let's say, not only from ethical side, but also some of the restrictions were implemented, that it's not possible just to write exactly, please provide me an example of how I can encrypt the data, and you already will get a script or a code or PowerShell script or anything. No, it's not that much straightforward anymore. But actually, if you try to divide it in several parts, that's what it can be done. Now I'm going to show you use case, but it's not to be repeated at home. It's only for the purposes of starting off the capability, and I'm not trying to show you or tell you to join cyber criminals. I'm more inviting you to stay on defensive side. Okay, so let me jump to the video which I have pre-recorded for this webinar, to show you what I have tried to do. Well, first of all, I decided to ask ChatGPT to help me to write a phishing email, right? Because that's one of the sides of what it's capable of. Phishing email about the fact that account that I need to verify the account and confirm it for one of the web hosting company. And again, I have created this company, Web Host for All. It's I used my imagination, so it's not a real company. Well, I hope if there are any of those ones, please forgive me. So, and actually, I asked it to keep a phishing link. As you can see, it gives me just in a couple of seconds a possibility to create a phishing email with couple of the links links which I can insert and just maybe launch this email. So basically it does all the job for me in pretty good English. It just sends me an example which I can use. But it's not enough for me because maybe to convince people to click on this link, it's not so easy anymore because people see the phishing emails and they already can understand that something is tricky, so better not. And then, of course, there might be some of the solutions which they are using already, and this email can be stopped. So what they do and what do the cyber criminals do? They can actually implement some of the malicious executables into very well-known applications, and most of us use Microsoft. It's very popular, right? And we know that cyber criminals very often using macros, and they ask you to enable macros to distribute some of the malicious executables or some of the other applications. So the new way of how they spread it's of course OneNote. Probably some of you have heard. If not, please stay attentive and be attentive to those emails with OneNote attachments. So what I have done, I asked ChatGPT to actually create an email which will urge customer to download and view my OneNote file. It took me again couple of seconds to get this done with ChatGPT. So what does it mean for me? So basically, I can already start doing it without having any, let's say, background here, right? And just can automate everything by ChatGPT. Moreover, it's not just only giving me a possibility to create a document, or sorry, to create an email with an attached file, and it reminds, please download and view the attached file. It also leave a possibility to insert phishing email, right, or phishing phone number here. So basically, it leaves you so many tricks as for the cyber criminals to be able to use it. Now, let's say that cyber criminals are not working only for English speaking countries, right? They want to go globally. And I asked ChatGPT to do it also in Italian, just as an example. Basically, in a couple of seconds, again, it creates me an email, which is, yeah, I would agree with you. It's not that much, let's say, uh, very good Italian, but oh, sorry, but still it shows you that it is possible to create it in Italian, and it's pretty much good. It's pretty much good, and you still can see that the document will be attached in OneNote, and you still will have the links, right, where you can implement those phishing ones. But of course, it's not enough for me because the attacks, how they are spread, it's not within the only phishing emails, it's also with the document. So what I want to make sure is that when this document, OneNote document will be opened, I can launch my executable. Why? Because of course I want to hide it and to make sure that this email will be clicked, like let's say will go through the system and the link will be clicked by their my victim, right? So basically what I go further, I ask ChatGPT to create a VBA code which can launch this URL from the opened OneNote. So when it's launched, it should run a code from a file from URL, right? So basically I asked ChatGPT to do that and it writes me a code, but it's not good enough for me because it's only launched. Now I want a file to be downloaded. So will be opened and downloaded. So basically it gives me a code and I already have all the tools in my hands to continue with the attack, right? And now I'm asking again ChatGPT, what does this code give to me? What type of possibilities? And of course, it tells me that I can launch a specific URL link from an opened OneNote, and it shows me how much time it will take, right, to fully load or open the file in a new window. And it also gives me a scenario when this code can be used. So basically, it shows me that if I need to access a specific file here, well, this code will help me to do it within even OneNote. So again, this is kind of very impressive because cyber criminals do often use such tools. Why? Because, well, of course, most of all, that would be some of the script kiddies or some of the people who doesn't have enough knowledge, enough security knowledge, right, to automate the things and to be able to launch an attack in just a couple of clicks, or even if they want to scale it and not to stay only, let's say, just in their location, right, if they want to spread in other locations. So cyber criminals can use and can overcome those restrictions for now. Especially recently, we know that API was opened for ChatGPT, so they will create some of the applications as well, and it just will take no time for them. I'm sure. So they usually find the ways how to misuse, right? Not only ChatGPT, but other artificial intelligence tools. And that's why we should be ahead. And we also should use artificial intelligence to, of course, stay ahead and to be able to protect against cyber threats. How do we use it? Well, one of the ways is, for example, it takes 277 days to identify data breach. But with the usage of AI, we can identify the attack much more faster by 33%. And of course, it's why we should use it because, of course, we can analyze the data quickly and we can already work with the consequences. And of course, we should definitely use it for the defense. Why? Because it can help us to identify the threat, to detect it much more faster. It can help us to find any anomalies which, for example, human being cannot find. It can help us to mitigate those threats in a much more easier manner, or even help us to spread the knowledge and reduce, let's say, or free up some of the expert time, right? And of course, it can help you to reduce some human errors to make sure that your business will work smoothly. But moreover, it can help you to facilitate the manual tasks. And of course, it can reduce all these risks and complexity. So, of course, my vision here, automate everything, right? Because it's better to automate and not to spend time on your manual work. And that's where we are. And I think on this note, I will give the word to Marcus, and so he can go through the live demo and show us how we can stop and help to mitigate any of the attacks. Marcus, over to you.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Irina, and welcome from my side. Happy to show you a short live demo how the system is working and protecting you. Before I want to start, I want to ask Irina to put on one slide, which is really important because it's showing our multi-layer approach. And I'm always taking an onion as an example. And you see Irina smiling because I'm always telling her about the onion. I just Googled, by the way, and this is nothing out of my weird brain. This is a common way to describe a security environment. Let's take it this way. Why it's important to have this kind of onion is because if somebody, let's say a bad actor, can peer one first part, there is another one and another one and another one. And this is the idea. And this is exactly how we set it up our system. And also this is nothing out of Acronis brains and development. This is based on a NIST framework. And a lot of these layers are in regards of prevention. And yeah, how to say, preventing is always better than curing. So when you check this layer, you see vulnerability assessment and patch management is the first one. And often people are saying, really, why? I don't get the point. But you saw it on Irina's slide. It was stated 475 out of 12,000 something reported vulnerabilities were being actively exploited. So this is a big topic still. If you don't find the vulnerability and patch it, for sure somebody will find it and then use it. And trust me, they often not use this vulnerability in a good way. So they not close down the backdoor for you. They will try to infect you with something malicious. So therefore, to know what kind of vulnerabilities you have and to patch them is the first step. And then the next step, also this was mentioned from Irina, 7.7% of endpoints accessing some malicious URL. I heard about 10%. I heard about every 10th web page is infected somehow. And this is a lot, guys. Especially if you need to keep in mind, if you go to an URL where you think this might be a good URL, there are often these side loads. So in the background, there's a picture from there, there's text from there, and so on. So it is pretty easy to get something to this malicious or to this infected URLs, I have to say. So therefore, URL filtering is really important. And now let's say URL filtering was failing, then you need to have exploit prevention and then cloud reputation analysis and so on, down to behavior protection, really important. Often traditional solutions are failing because they are based on static description and signature based files. But this fancy AI driven malware, this hides itself behind something which is obvious good. Let's say the word. So a normal scanner will fail because they say, hey, it's Word, the signature is fine, we know that it's from Microsoft. So therefore you need to have behavior. And then on the far end, you have the backup, as already mentioned, last line of defense. I would even say backup. There is another layer which is not on our slides here, which is disaster recovery. Because also backup is not always your last line of defense, because also here, the malware getting better, and what a lot of malwares are doing, they scan the environment and check if there is a backup, and if they find backup, they delete it or encrypt it. So they take this last line of defense. So therefore, again, it's important to have multi-layers, and disaster recovery is also a layer. And this is really the last one. In this case, if everything is gone, I can switch over to the disaster recovery environment. And now I will hijack the screen sharing here and share my screen. And I'm already logged into our solution here. You see Acronis Cyber Protect Cloud, and I will do really a short demo. First of all, I want to give you an idea how easy it is to protect the system. So I'm grabbing just one device here and go to protect and say add plan. And I want to create a new protection plan. So I select protection here. I need to silence my speaker. So now I see the picture for the new protection plan. And let me close down here the backup area. And you see, again, somehow the layers. In the protection plan, you have, again, different layers of protection. And it's up to you with an easy click to set up the level of protection. Backup, I think that's nothing to discuss. Backup is a must. So it's turn on. For sure, you can configure what to backup, where to store your backup, and so on. Next thing, antivirus, anti-malware. Do you want to have this protection? Just turn it on. Again, like in the backup, you can dig in and be more granular. What exactly is needed? Our famous active protection against ransomware, the advanced anti-malware solution. Now you see it's EAP. We will come up with EDR, endpoint detection and response, network folder protection, self-protection, crypto miner protection, quarantine, and so on. So you can set up whatever needed. Then I want to have URL filtering. Go for it. Just turn it on. It's just one click. And all the features are the same. So it's just one click and you have this level of protection. And how this does it reflect? We will check now on this machine. For sure I have already. Let's go and check for a second. Here is my plan. I have backup, I have antivirus, anti-malware, URL filtering, firewall, vulnerability assessment, patch management, everything turned on this machine. So now let's connect to the machine. And this is also a beauty of Acronis Cyber Protect Cloud, because I don't need any additional tool to connect to this machine. I can do it directly out of the console here. I click Control. Now our client is starting and administrator. Now I'm logging into this machine with the local admin credentials. Hopefully I didn't do a typo. And here we go. Now I'm connected to the machine. Make it a bit bigger here. And I need to move the Zoom taskbar here. Give me a second. I need to arrange a little bit. Here we go. Now let's send Control Alt Delete and log in to this machine. I think I did a typo. No. So now I'm logged in to my Windows machine. And let's do some easy tasks here. First of all, let's try to serve to a malicious web page. To find a real malicious web page, I'm always using abuse.ch. It's a Swiss, I'm even not sure if it's a company, but it's a platform in the web which is collecting the real stuff. And to be careful, because this is the real stuff. So we are talking about real ransomware, malicious URLs and so on. So this is fine for testing. There is the so-called malware bazaar, which collects every kind of malware. And there's also, oops, it's scrolling a bit strange here. Part which is called URL house. And let's do this first, because in this database you have malicious URLs. So yes, I need to confirm that I'm a human and not a robot. And now let's go to the database and try to execute something by surfing to this web page. Okay. Let's try maybe here this one. What I do, I click on this and now I copy paste it and open this in a new tab. And hopefully, okay, this is not working at all. This is something totally cryptic. Okay. Interesting, never had this before, but this could happen because this is all real. Let's try this one. What is it here? Maybe I should read the description before I click something, but I'm protected, so let's see. Yeah, here we go. Unfortunately, the page is in German. I don't know why, because my system is set it up in English. maybe it's the AI is so clever, it knows exactly that I'm doing this remote demo out of Germany. I don't know, but I will explain you. It's saying, hey, we block this malicious web page because there is something. You see again the URL here, and I can go back, or I can click, because I set it up like this. I don't care, continue. But then maybe I end up really with the malicious stuff. So this is how URL filtering is protecting you before the malicious stuff is hitting you. So this is prevention. It prevents even from downloading the bad stuff. Let's try another one. I saw the first one here is an exe file, which is still new. I haven't seen this in the database so far. So I'm more or less, I'm interested more than you, maybe even. So let's see what's happened if I open this one. Okay, we also block this. I thought maybe the exit download will start, but also here you see we block this malicious stuff and we are protected. Let's go back to the main page from abuse and see if we can download some malware or maybe even some ransomware here. Let's go to the malware bazaar, to the database, and see if I'm not a robot, if I can find something nice here. You see this database, it's really interesting because it's showing the date when it was uploaded, what it is, the hash, the tags, what is in there. So smoke loader sounds nice. Let's see. And let's see what's happened if I click this link. Okay, it's the description, smoke loader, blah, blah, blah. So you see this information, and now you can also download these samples. Again, be careful because this is real malicious stuff. This is not a joke. I have already something on my machine, so I will close down here and let's see. Oh, shit, what's happened? Oh no, I'm encrypted. No, just kidding. It was a picture. I want to check if you're still alive. No, let's go to my ransomware folder here and don't do jokes anymore. I have a good test which I want to share with you. It's it's really all script. It's simulating WannaCry, but it shows exactly how our system in regards of active protection is working. So let's start the script and see what's happening. So obvious, nothing. And if always when I run this test, people say, oh, nothing happens, or this is a fake or whatever. No, the real part happened in the back end, because now I should have an alert in my system. Let's refresh here. Because what did we do? We analyzed. No, it's not there. Yeah, my system is weird. I'm playing around so much that often I don't get the information at the first view, but it's a demo environment. So this is nothing here where I just have fake stuff. Also, this is really let's see here, the real stuff, I would say. So these are really machines. This is my laptop I'm working on, so I'm testing really. I'm not sure why it's not in my log, but give it a second. Let me go back to the machine for a while. It happened already this morning when I tested it. So maybe I tested too much at the end. Let's restart it and see. In the meantime, I will explain you. Maybe you saw it already. Now you see it. Now it took a bit more time. Perfectly. So maybe you have seen that the files were shortly mentioned as encrypted. And this is exactly how ransomware is working. So the ransomware is encrypting a file. and then the next file and the next file and the next file. And this is where our behavior engine realized, hey, I know this process because I'm running this test often, but this process is changing files really shortly, which is not usual, and then it's reacting. So therefore you have some encrypted files. Every other solution will now stop at this point, so you will end up with encrypted files. With our solution, because hey, we are coming out of the backup, we know exactly how to do. We do a more or less automatically recovery. And this is also somehow, I wouldn't say this is AI or whatever, but this is intelligence in general, because automation is also somehow part of this whole process. And Irina mentioned automation many times. This is how we do it. We realize, oh, there is something, we stopped it, and then we reverted the changes, so you are back to normal, so all your files are still good. And this is the clever part. I love automation, by the way, because the more you can automate, the better. I'm a lazy guy, so I love automation. Everything what the system can do, it's perfect. But this has also the side effect, because to be honest, what is the biggest risk in regards of security? Unfortunately, the humans, because we click the phishing email, we serve to the URL. So this can be protected only by, and this is the first level of protection, awareness training. But the second thing is automation. If you automate something, I cannot make it wrong because it's automated. Let's try something else. I have a lot of malware downloaded already, and let's open up here things. Unzip here. Yeah, let's unzip here and see what's happened. No, I don't want to register. I want to unzip it here again. Unzip to here. Why is it? Oh shit! This is if you work with free software. Unfortunately, I downloaded free software. Anyway, I have already some stuff here. Yeah, but this happens. I'm used to, because this is live. Now my machine is taking crazy. Maybe I did too much stuff here. So let's see. This is automatic file. Come on. Something is now not working like expected. Either my machine, I killed it, or maybe, let's see, open. No, it's good. Okay, it's working again. It was me. So let's take one of these stuff here. Windows Explorer, open. And here is something, and again, it's not that fancy. The magic will be in the console, hopefully afterwards. Again, here, the system is just saying I cannot extract. And this is because our system saw already this is malicious and blocked it. Even it was still in the zip file. I even didn't unpack it. So these are how the system is working and structured. So now let's hope that there is something in the console. Okay, now here it is. I don't know why it's always delayed. So this is the machine. You see incident detected. I go to alerts and you see there is already something. And due to the fact I have EDR turned on, now I can even do investigation. And this is really important. Skip this, because in this EDR model, what you see is the whole chain. You don't see only there was a process, we blocked it. No, you see the system, which process was involved till the malicious part. And I can even do analysis, like go to virus total and see, okay, this is treated as malware. Or you can look up in Google about this. You see the process type, WannaCry exe, and so on and so forth. You have even actions to respond. I can put this now to quarantine. I can stop the process. Or I say, hey, this is a false positive. Let's put it on the whitelist, and so on. So you have full visibility. In this case, it's an easy task because we created this code. Normally, what you see here in real ransomware attacks is that not only one process is involved, many processes are starting. Maybe I have something alt here where you can see more information. Yeah, here you see another information. Oh, this is a good example here. You see even the slides which were encrypted and so on. So all this visibility is given with the EDR model. And one last point, because I want to definitely some time left for question and answer. Vulnerability and patches. I already mentioned this is really important. Here is how it does look like in the console. You see my systems, a lot of vulnerabilities. So we list all vulnerabilities in the environment. Mostly it's Microsoft, but we can scan also for sure third party. You see Apple Safari here as well. And I can see the details. I can even click on this and will be linked to the CV, the Common Vulnerability and Exposure Database, to see the details about these vulnerabilities. This is already nice to know there is something and I need to take care. And on top, we have the patching. So in this case, there are patches available and I can patch now out of the system of my machines. You see, this is an update from Microsoft. I can now install the patch remotely, and the patch is valid for this machine here. And even better, I can set up the patching also automatically. We have the possibility to set up the system to auto approval after a certain amount of days, and then by a schedule, which was also in the plan. Maybe you saw it. I will go back here for a second. In the plan, you have patch management. And in this case, all updates on Microsoft and third party on Monday at 3:10. This is where my system will be patched. So we check about vulnerabilities, and then if there is a patch available from the vendor, we install it automatically. So no need to take care about this anymore because we do it. And this is how, yeah, an automated system should work. And even more, what we can do, because we know how to do backups, we do a pre-update backup, which means before the patch will be installed, we run an incremental backup. Why? Because just in case, let's imagine something happened during the patch. Maybe the patch is malicious, or maybe the patch has an issue and the system is not booting. We can go back immediately to the point before the patch were installed. And this is how the system should be consolidated in one console, easy to manage, one protection plan to give you all the possibilities from layer 1 with vulnerability assessment and patch management down to even disaster recovery, which is also possible out of this console. I can easily set up disaster recovery with more or less one click. Or if I select a device, I think I have already a machine with disaster. Yeah, I have already protected this machine. So normally the first ask will be, oh, you want DR? Let's set up 2 clicks and then it's done and then I'm secured. So this is how a clever system should look like nowadays. Not running 20 tools, unable to manage one console for all cybersecurity belongings, no matter what endpoint you have, if it's a Windows, a desktop, laptop, here is a Mac laptop, and even Linux devices. Every workstation should be protected and can be protected with this solution. With this, let me go back here and let's see if there are some questions and open the floor for you guys.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Marcus, Irina. Both great, great. I think it is a good learning from you guys. It's very good. That is really something that some insight that really we need to be aware. And while we are waiting for some question, I have received yesterday in the invitation that I already, the reminder that I already sent it, of many people asking me a few questions that I already took with me. And we're going moving forward with that one, okay? Between the other question is appear in the chat. One of the one here say, doesn't ChatGPT have a guardrails that prevented its malicious use? Who can answer me that?
I guess I will, if that's fine, I will take this one on help. Basically, yes, guys, I've showed you that even though ChatGPT is creating some of the restrictions, still, of course, cyber criminals will find a way. Like, let me give you an example. We know that in the, I think it's already March, so about a month ago, or maybe 2 months ago, ChatGPT already announced that you need to pay $20 to make sure that it's uninterrupted service, right? And you need to pay this $20, and then you can always use ChatGPT without any problems, without any issues. So it took cyber criminals only 1 week to create new schemes, how they can make money out of this. So what they have started to do, first of all, they created phishing links from which you are basically able to download ChatGPT application app to your smartphone, which we know doesn't exist. So they already used this to trick you, right, to download this application. Now, the other thing, they created pages where you can pay for the usage of ChatGPT, and it was pretty much very convincing for the people who, let's say, was not very attentive or just made it for quick or maybe wanted to learn more. Then again, you were entering your credit card, and of course, this was a malicious website, malicious link. So again, it took them just a couple of days to create the schemes to make those quick money. So basically, for ChatGPT, even now, even there is right now, you can keep the history of the requests, right? And we know that it's a trained model, right? So it needs to be trained. So if in the beginning you can send a request like, please give me an example of, or create me a phishing email for this or that, it was able to create it. After a couple of tries, after 1 day, it was restricted and you had to do several steps. As I've showed you, it's still possible, like if you use enough imagination. So there are, but still we, the cyber threats are evolving, and of course cyber criminals are evolving their tactics. So still this will be evolved.
Okay, interesting. Thank you, Irina. I've got another one here. We say, what kind of malicious use of ChatGPT can you foresee beyond the ones you talked about earlier?
Okay, well, I can maybe I'll take this one again. Is that fine? Marcus, please feel free to join. So yes, we've took a look at phishing emails, right? They can use it to create malware. They can use it to find vulnerabilities and then exploit them. And I think on YouTube, there were some of the practical videos of how you can do it, what requests you need to send, and so on. And the other thing of how they can use it, well, of course, the model, how it was created, it's a chat. So it's one of the, like the first thing which come in mind, like I'm sure you've heard about those romance scams, right? When people try to represent somebody, right, and make these interactions with other people, like, and chat with them. You need to be intensive in those interactions, because, and of course this tool helps you to be intense in those interactions, and it's one of the other ways of how you can use it. But one of the critical is disinformation. And for example, how it can, what it can do, it can really create a flood of alerts. Let's say Marcus was shown as a demo, right, with the alerts. So basically, if you receive 1,000 alerts, like how do you start, right? Or where do you start? I mean, it's rather hard. Or there was a recent case, I mean, it can help them still with the phishing, because there was a recent case in Australia where a woman used she has automated the phishing emails for one of the I don't remember, it's like one of the authorities, right? I don't want to lie here, but one of the authorities, and she was bombarding with those phishing emails one of the person of the authorities. So it's flooded their system, and they couldn't deal with any of the requests. So it's the things do happen. So one person can bring all these consequences.
Wow. Now, another question that is very interesting, because that is more general question, but how do you see this potentially affecting our managing services business? And that is, I think that is one of the worries for everyone. What do you think? Well, I think both guys, you can answer that.
I can do this time. I was waiting if Irina is asking, is answering again. No, let's say there are two sides of a medal, as always. So one thing, as managed services, you are the first who is in charge. So the customer will, let's say, complain with you first. And the second thing, it's also a good thing for me as a managed service company, because I can add more services. Say, hey, dear customer, have you heard ChatGPT can do this and that? Therefore, we will see a race of malware. We will see this and that. So I can offer you not only the default stuff, I can offer you a multi-layer package. I just had this morning a discussion about this, saying, as a partner now, I can say, okay, I have package 1, 2, 3. One is the basic, you get backup. Second is you have endpoint protection, plus backup, and the third might be the full-blown package. So you have the backup, endpoint protection, and management. And I do also maybe the response for you. So I'm using EDR systems to respond, because this is really important. To getting something and block something is one thing, but to analyze what's going on, what's happened, is really important. And this is where the managed services business come into place, because the customer is not able to analyze. So therefore he needs the partner. And then check. So with my example, unfortunately, it didn't show a lot of information on the response part, but normally now I should check, is this the only machine infected? Is there another machine? Is it already spread in the network? And all this information. And this is where I see the partner. This is where he needs to jump in and deliver this service. So there is an opportunity for partners to deliver more than just, hey, here is an antivirus solution. I sell it for $100. Go for it, dear customer. This is over. And therefore, there's a potential for them to do this upselling.
Okay. If I may add, Angel, right? Because for me, it's like the question, of course, it will influence probably, first of all, the ethics for MSPs, because I think from the other side, right? Well, like, why do they actually target MSPs? It's the easiest way for them, right? It's the easiest way for them to have as many victims as it is possible, because MSP have a chain of customers, right? So once MSP is targeted, It doesn't matter. It can be vulnerability. It can be, we know those cases. I won't name it. I won't again and again all over. But we all know, we all heard about this cases. And of course, supply chain attacks, they are on the rise. And again, it's one of the ways of how cyber criminals can increase their quantity. And of course, those tools, AI tools, it's not only ChatGPT. ChatGPT is only one of them. It's only a little part of AI, right? Because some people think that it's the only thing. No, it's not. It's only part of it because it's just accessible for everyone. That's why everyone is talking about it. But again, it helps them to automate, to get more quantity of the victims. And of course, that's how they make money. So of course, they will be increasing it because they need to invest less efforts and get more results. That's it.
Okay. Okay, very good point. Thank you, Irina. Very good point. And I've got the last one from my side. Okay, not sure if it's anyone more in the chat. It looks like no, but I got the last one. And even myself, I was wondering that. I know the answer, but we want to hear from you. What kind of help can we anticipate from government and industry regulation? I know that is, from social and also for privacy issues, it wasn't easy, taking account what happened in other things. It looks like the government is not quick as we sometimes we want. What do you point about this, guys?
Maybe let me say one short comment here, and then Irina can add. I'm from Germany, and I'm not sure about your countries, but Germany is the worst country in regards of internet. I don't know why. We are highly technology country, but internet is like, oh, it's new. What is this internet? Also, our connections are really bad. So is there help from our government? No, really. Everything is still manual in regards of our government. For sure, what we see from the European law is stuff like GDPR or POPI in South Africa and a lot of other of these regulations and rules. But is this protecting me? No. The only thing what I see, and this is what we also use for us when we develop best practice, is stuff like MITA or the NIST framework, which is from the US, a framework how you should protect a system, which is also, by the way, first level here is again prevention, also in the NIST framework. So these are things I can expect from the government, but they are not protecting my machines or my systems. So don't expect anything.
Yeah,
I would
well,
add anytime soon. So yeah, anytime soon, right? Because it will take definitely some time.
Yeah, well, let's say it's like you say, depending what countries, maybe cybersecurity can be one of the topic in the priorities. Now, I think it's more the trending now, cybersecurity, looking how we are living in the current situation. But still, we have a lot learning. ChatGPT is, like you mentioned, it's just only one point of everything that we might be worried about sometimes, just because people are talking about, and that's make it more pay attention in that. But at the end, the risk is anywhere, we might say.
Yeah.
So maybe
we need to be protected. We are Acronis, maybe. That is what we need to probably to do. Sorry.
The issue is not. I just want to recap what you say, Anga, because it's completely correct, and Irina also mentioned it. It's not the GPT itself. It's even not the AI itself. AI gives us, and therefore also the bad guys, the possibility to not search something. I can easily find it by asking the AI, because the AI is trained already. It knows everything in question marks, in quoting marks. So this is the big issue. It's not the fact that there is AI, there is ChatGPT. It's always this misusage. You can always misuse something. And the only thing, and this is my big advice, is don't fear all this. Just protect yourself. Try to get the best on the market and protect your machines, and then you're in good shape. So at least you did everything. By the way, this is also how GDPR is structured. You need to show I did everything what is possible.
Yeah, but also that actually some of the companies already have restricted, right, the usage of ChatGPT, because some of the employees, they actually input in some internal data, which stays there, and where would it go, right? So again, here is the question of privacy of everything. I'm talking about Verizon, and there are some other companies like T-Mobile, I think, also among them. So yeah, absolutely agree here with you on this one.
Data leakage prevention will be a big task in the future. Not only due to ChatGPT, by the way. Good information. We have it in the product.
Good one, Marcus. Good one. Hey guys, I think we are right at the end. Just exactly 1 hour of this wonderful workshop. Thanks to, of course, Acronis. Okay, thank you guys both. Irina, Marcus, our community endpoint management for sure. Appreciate that, value information, which is really needed. I'll say again, as I mentioned to you at the beginning, security is one of the topics that we are more and more speaking in our feed, and the people are asking more. We have a question for group, and in question for group, we see every day people is asking more questions related. And well, I don't want to say it's one of the worry, but it's one of the things that we need to learn. Yeah, that is, I think, more than worry. We can be worried for everything, but it's more learning. That is what we need to see, and see what is not ChatGPT will becoming more things. ChatGPT is only the corner. It's one of the pieces that will be coming more in the future. Well, and in fact, it's clear that everyone now, how many devices that we have with computer, tablet, with the mobile. So we have so many, we have so many options that, to be attacked from the hacker, because we are giving them the possibility to do. So, okay, well, with this information, we hope that this helped. And then just happy for those that not joining, will receive this session recorded. Okay, I will send an email. And so thank you so much again for everyone. See you next time. Okay, our community for sure will love it to keep hear more about security. It's one of the things that for sure we want to keep listening. Thank you so much, Irina, Marcus. Very appreciated.
Thank you so much, Angel. Thank you, Marcus. And thank you, attendees. Stay safe and cyber fit. Until the next one.
Thanks a lot. Stay safe and protected.
Stay safe and protected. Well done. Thank you. Well done. Bye-bye. Cheers, man.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye. Bye-bye.